Okay, let's look at the example in the textbook of how to apply activity-based costing. They actually go through a problem. And remember, both start out with direct costs in the bottom. All right, so these are costs that they can directly trace to the product. So these are direct costs. Now, allocating the overhead is the issue. And what we did before was we had either a plant-wide overhead rate where we took one lump number, like you'd have one box like this, and say I'm going to allocate it based on direct labor hours, and that was your overhead cost allocation. Or you could do it by departments, and you could have like what they had, a simple and then a complex lens. And you could take that and say, well, this is their overhead, and I'll allocate it based on, machine hours or direct labor hours or something like that. And that's how they could be direct or allocated. But activity-based costing is literally what it says, activity-based. Okay, so now we look at the activities rather than a department. Okay, we're going to look at the actual activities. Like here's design. Design costs $450,000. Modular molding machine setup activity, $300,000. Okay, molding machine operations activity. So it's setup and operations. And setup is a real big job because it's like loading all of the software and the all of the specifications that you need for a job into a machine so that it works like that. Okay, and then this would be actually running it. That would be the operations. And then shipment setup activity, distribution activity. Okay, and then they've got some administrative costs. And then you look at each of these activities and figure out, well, what's my best driver? Okay, and my best driver for design is parts square feet. Oh, I can't remember. I don't know what this is. Here, a normal one that we've got is for setup activities, setup hours. Parts per square foot. 4,500 per part square foot. I don't know what a part square foot is. Um, Molding machine operations, these are machine hours. Okay, shipment setup hours. Distribution activity is how many cubic feet are delivered. Okay, all boxes are measured and things like that. And so if this is my, say for design, let's go do this one instead. Let's do setup. For setup, my setup activity cost is 300,000 for the year, and we've got 2,000 setup hours for the year. Okay, so that would be $150 per setup hour. So we'll take this model and we'll allocate it to each job individually. Okay, which means you've got to track all of these different things and you've got to track it by job. So ABC is expensive to implement. It's complex, but it gives you a lot of great information because maybe the company didn't really realize that design alone costs 450,000. I mean, good design can save a lot of money too, but it's good to know what these things cost. You've got 255,000 in administrative costs here. All right, and they're allocating it based on direct labor hours, but still. All right, distribution activity itself, almost $400,000. Okay, so rather than having one pot here or departments up here, now we've got activities. This is what they do. So see, then the challenge for the company is to decrease an amount of activity or to decrease a cost per activity. Okay, once you know what you do, once you've analyzed what you actually do, then you can start, reducing the costs and making it more efficient. Now here is another way to look at it. Okay, these are the cost rates. This is this piece right here. Okay, so let's say we've got for design, we had 4,500 per part square foot, whatever the heck that is. Here's design, product sustaining, okay, 450,000. Okay, we've got our indirect rate, we've got 100 part square feet, so that's 4,500 per part square foot. Okay, more parts, larger surface area, whatever they say, huh? Here's machine molding. This is a batch level cost. Oh, that's the difference here. This is the difference, is the cost categories. And let me open this up real quick here. this we looked at this before too, this cost hierarchy, and you've really got to know these. This is output. We've got unit level costs, and those are that's a cost that's incurred for each individual unit. Okay, a batch level cost, like setting up a machine. Okay, you set up a machine and then you run a batch of units through it. Okay, so that's what a batch level cost would be. Now then we've got product or service sustaining cost. This has nothing to do with the number of units or batches, but it's a product sustaining cost. Let's take a look at one. And then we've got facility sustaining, and that can't be traced to anything underneath it either. Okay, but it's more for the overall good of the whole organization. So let's look at these. Let's look for a product or service sustaining cost. There's a facility sustaining here, and that's administration, which makes sense. But we don't have any product sustaining cost. Let's see here. That's okay. So we've got a batch level cost for the machine setup. Okay. Now output unit level cost, because for machine operations you do it for each item that comes through the machine, and there's our total cost divided by the allocation base gives us our cost per. That's our rate. Okay. Shipping is a batch level cost here. Shipping costs incurred to prepare batches for shipment. Okay, apparently this product doesn't sell like one a piece, doesn't get sold and shipped. All right, these are shipped in batches. Distribution is an output unit level. Distribution costs increase with the cubic feet of packages delivered. Okay, so there's like a relationship there between the unit and the distribution cost. And then administrative costs are facility sustaining, and it varies. It increases with direct manufacturing labor hours. So that's what they use for the cost driver. So here are simple lenses and complex lenses. And here are all of our direct costs, 1,000,008 and 1,020. And then we've got, you can see the design is more expensive for the complex ones. So is the setup of the machine. Okay. The machine operators here are lower. They're more highly paid, but they're lower. But that's because they probably run more product through with the simple lens. Okay, shipment setup is about the same. Distribution, a little bit less here, but here are our total costs. 2.9 million versus 1.9 million. Okay, then there's a lot of talking there. But that's what you need to know. I'm not going to get through the rest of it, but this is the part that you want to focus on. Okay, actually right here. All right. Okay, so we'll work problems, and once you work more problems, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay.